실장으로
아니,
들어왔는데
이럴 수가.
네. nepotism.
Let's take a closer look at the MAMA rule change, because this is not a small detail. MAMA has never allowed co-ed groups to compete in gendered categories. They have consistently separated male and female performances, ignored co-ed groups in mains award categories, and completely sidelined card. So why now? Why suddenly break a pattern that has existed for years? Did MAMA gain a new sense of fairness and inclusion? Or did circumstances align in a way that made them more flexible? MAMA has never been credible or about actual success. Maybe back then, but since 2018, I believe it went downhill. But this year, they did something they've never done before. They allowed a co-ed group to compete in a category they previously kept strictly gendered. CARD never got that same flexibility. They were never placed in gendered categories. So why the sudden rule change now? Was it coincidence? Maybe. Possible. But was it convenient? Absolutely. And when convenience aligns with a member who comes from a high-profile, high-power family, people are not stupid. People can connect dots. I'm not saying Annie personally requested anything, but sure is convenient when certain names are attached. When you have an idol with connections to one of the most powerful families in South Korea, and suddenly the industry becomes more accommodating, people are going to question it, and they should. Then there's the whole situation with Mama suddenly becoming confidential and randomly changing their criteria right when Annie debuts. I'm sorry, but that looks suspicious no matter how you spin it. You don't get to hide the judging process, alter categories out of nowhere, refuse to explain the process, and then act shocked when people call it rigged. And let me be clear, rigged doesn't automatically mean Annie paid for anything. That's not what I'm saying, and it's not even the point. Rigged can also mean the system itself is structured in a way that benefits certain people intentionally or not because of who they are connected to. It can mean decisions were made behind closed doors that the public isn't allowed to question. It can mean the process wasn't fair, transparent, or consistent. Bribery is not the only way. When an award show suddenly shifts its rules at the exact moment a high-profile chaebol-connected idol debuts, people are going to raise their eyebrows. That's just common sense. Whether Annie personally asked for anything or not is irrelevant. The lack of transparency makes it impossible to know either way. And when you add in the fact that the entertainment industry would never openly go against a family as powerful as Samsung, the timing of these changes becomes even harder to ignore. Let's be very clear about what Samsung represents in South Korea. This isn't just a big company. They are the largest contributor to South Korea's GDP, one of the most powerful companies in the entire country. Samsung is everywhere. It's your phone, your TV, your kitchen appliances. And this is where the issue arises. When someone comes from a family that's part of that ecosystem, their name carries weight, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because the industry bends for the people connected to power. Whether that bending is intentional, subtle, or simply an act of self-preservation, that's exactly why we will never have clarity. So no, I'm not accusing Annie of buying Mama over. But when an award show starts creating an environment where favoritism is possible, suspicion is inevitable. And with the Daesung, while Annie might not have brought the win, she might also have brought the win. But the real problem? We will never know either way. You have to acknowledge the reality of how power works in South Korea. When someone has direct ties, whether by blood or by association, to the Samsung conglomerate, the playing field is not equal anymore. People say, "Stop reaching, she bought the win." And others say, "Of course she did. The members looked at her." But both sides are missing the actual point. The point is this. In an industry where connections to major chaebols exist, transparency disappears. And when transparency disappears, people fill the silence with speculation, and rightfully so. Fans keep saying, "Show me evidence that her family influenced anything." You guys are making conspiracies. You're reaching. And I get why people say that. Evidence matters. But here's the problem. Power does not leave evidence. Power doesn't have to say anything out loud. Power doesn't need paperwork or leaked messages. People in positions of influence don't have to make a single phone call because everyone around them already knows what's at stake. This isn't about Annie personally. This is about a system where chaebol families don't get rejected. They don't get publicly embarrassed. They don't get denied opportunities. Companies do not want to be on their bad side. So when fans demand proof, What they're actually doing is expecting a system built on silence to suddenly become transparent. It's never going to happen. So while Annie herself might not be making calls, pulling strings, or controlling outcomes, the weight of her family name absolutely does. Directly or indirectly, it influences how the industry treats her group. Maybe she didn't bring the win, but her connection did, which means she did, directly or indirectly. Technicalities don't matter. And let's talk about their fans for a second, because this part is honestly ridiculous. Every time someone brings up the actual issue, the influence that comes from Samsung level power, their fans immediately start dragging random rich idols into the conversation as if that proves anything. Not all wealth is the same. Being born into a well-off family is not the same as being born into the family that literally shapes South Korea's economy. Someone actually said, well, Jin's dad works at Samsung, okay? And let's use common sense here. BTS didn't have anything handed to them. They debuted under a tiny company. They got mocked. They got ignored. They didn't get media play. They didn't get broadcast prioritization. They didn't even get proper award recognition until they were already exploding. They didn't get real consistent fame until 3 or 4 years into their career, and even then, it was because of their work, not because someone's dad had a mid-level job at Samsung. People aren't out here acting like a Samsung employee has the same level of influence as the Samsung family. That's like comparing a cashier to the CEO of the entire corporation. So this whole argument fans keep bringing up, pulling random wealthy idols into the conversation, is honestly dumb and unnecessary. It's a distraction. It's a deliberate misunderstanding. It's them pretending not to see the difference between having money and having power at the level of a national conglomerate. The issue isn't rich idols. The issue is when a person who is a family member of one of the country's biggest sources of revenue becomes an idol, and we're supposed to believe every win and nomination has nothing to do with her name. All day fans need to stop pretending every type of wealth is equal, because these discussions will keep going in circles, and you'll keep digging the hole for yourself. And her fans know that. That's exactly why they keep saying the same thing on loop, because they're aware it's true, and acknowledging it would destroy their entire defense. They understand that once you admit the influence behind her background, you can no longer pretend the system is fair or that every win is purely merit-based. So instead of confronting the actual problem, they deflect, distract, and repeat the same talking points as if that will magically rewrite how power works. It's not confusion. It's deliberate avoidance. And the whole, but New Jeans also only debuted 5 months ago argument is ridiculous. Yes, they were recently debuted rookies at the time, and they came out with an EP of 4 songs where 3 out of 4 became instantly recognizable hits. Hype Boy and Attention weren't just known, they were everywhere. You couldn't escape them even if you tried. Trying to compare Famous to New Jeans' debut impact is honestly laughable. New Jeans didn't just do good numbers, they were monster rookies, the exact thing people love bragging about when it comes to their own faves. If anything, New Jeans is the example of what a real monster rookie looks like. And let's not forget, Ditto dropped within their debut year, the same song that shattered multiple records and had the entire industry paying attention to them and only them. Like, are we pretending that didn't happen? So when people try to put Famous, a song that pulled a few good numbers at best and one you guys keep insisting was popular, next to a group that caused industry-wide shockwaves the moment they went public, are you delusional or just plain stupid? Because I genuinely don't know at this point. New Jeans won because they made actual noise, real impact, real presence. Comparing New Jeans to All Day or Famous isn't just wrong, it's embarrassing. It's an insult to basic logic. Yes, All Day didn't win Rookie of the Year, but that doesn't erase the fact that Annie's connections still matter and are very much at play within the industry. Cordis and Hearts to Hearts are pulling bigger numbers than almost anyone right now, so it's obvious why All Day didn't get it. Honestly, we all know the entire show would have exposed itself the second their names were announced. Even Mnet wouldn't be that shameless. And let's be real, them not walking away empty-handed is basically Mnet saying, "Don't worry, we'll get you next time." So to answer the question of whether Annie bought the award, in my opinion, yes, just not in the traditional sense of handing over money or bribing anyone. If anything, this is nepotism at its cleanest and most undeniable form. If it wasn't direct influence, it was indirect, and the outcome speaks for itself. Before I end the video, I just want to say this. Annie should be a lot more worried about that culture chameleon on her team who can barely be bothered to wear pants than she is about Youngseo dipping herself in pink off stage. Personal style has nothing to do with the group's concept. Youngseo wearing pink isn't blurring the lines. Meanwhile, Tarzan can't seem to figure out how to behave like a normal human being or show basic decency. Complaining about a girl liking pink and embracing being a girl, while your member is out here violating people's eyes because we're all stuck seeing his underwear? Let's be serious. Get a grip and fix your priorities. That's all. Don't forget to like and subscribe.